Hi, this video is part of an analysis series that I dedicate to several Nik Kershaw songs that haven't fit into one of my previous videos yet, but nevertheless are worth having a closer look at.
Time for a closer look.
For today, let's switch to the one song from 2020's album Oxymoron that totally blew my mind when finally listening through this album long enough to actually discover it.
Safe above, soft beneath dew.
Before we have a closer look on the many nice harmonic shifts, let's just quickly appreciate this genius melodic invention on which the song is based.
Safe above, soft beneath duvet.
It's a C-7 chord spread over an A-flat, E-flat major chord pendulum.
Safe above, soft beneath duvet.
I can't help it. The combination of the melody with this chord structure is just such a beautiful setting right from the very beginning.
Light becomes
The second time it ends in a cadence on the 5th scale degree.
day calls.
The global key still is E-flat major until this point, which means even after this cadence you would feel most settled if I continue with an E-flat major chord.
Day calls. Lullaby
Notice how Nik decides to resolve the tension lying in that cadence on the 5th scale degree.
calls. Lullaby
Following a major chord by another major chord a minor third above or below is a progression that works very nice because we have a common tone in both chords, but the beforehand major third has to be replaced by a minor third that becomes the root of the new chord. So there's already a little ambiguity in the relation between those two major chords. There is no single major key where you will find both of these chords, so we will have a hard time describing them in terms of scale degrees. Of course, for this progression happening once, I could easily consult modal mixture theory with its borrowed chords like in the previous videos. In this example, it's D-flat major borrowed from the scale of B-flat minor. But not all of the modulations in this song will be perceivable through the lens of B-flat major minor territory. That I can anticipate, and we would have to assume a constant change of our reference keys for the modal mixture, which wasn't the case in the other songs, at least not nearly as much. We're actually now in a field of harmony where there is only consonant chords, but no tonal center that I can relate more than a few successive chords towards. Instead, in this kind of harmony, every chord acts like being the tonal center. Compared to a standard major or minor scale, the possibilities of this kind of harmony feel way more open and like a discovery tour in a terrain where you don't know what happens next and there is an infinite amount of possible progressions. Let's therefore give this relation a name according to the operations we did in order to get from B-flat major to D-flat major, which would be forming the parallel minor variant and taking its relative major key. You could argue that this is the same as thinking in modal mixture, but the difference is in the focus. With giving it these figures, we are referencing the operational steps to get from one chord to the other. The difference is turned out when I just exchange the order of my operations. We get the same chord relation as before, but in the other direction. With modal mixture, I first have to assume another key that both chords relate towards. I treated this PR chord relation with so much detail because it will be very useful in the following sections of the song.
lullaby float you away.
The D-flat major chord turns out to be part of a 4-5-1 cadence into A-flat major,
My little guy.
which is then immediately followed by another PR relation that would suggest a cadence to G-flat major.
Go you to sleep.
But before this tonic is established, Nik pulls the reverse card, going backwards to B-flat major with this very nice transition chord
Sleep and dream.
that combines the common tone of the two chords and fills them up with a transition note in the bass that fits both to the D-flat and B-flat major.
Sleep and
This step is then copy-pasted.
dreamland.
And when arriving here the second time, even resolved with another RP combination.
It's alright.
In terms of harmonic complexity, Little Star already exceeds the entire rest of the Oxymoron album, but have a listen into the beginning of the chorus section.
Sleep becomes dream, becomes night.
Dude, it's so sweet to have exactly the same motive as in the beginning, but in a different harmonic context.
Safe above, soft beneath duvet. Sleep becomes dream, becomes nightmare.
And I know, the strings and everything make so much kitsch out of it, but let's just appreciate how well made this kitsch actually is.
Nightmare.
Yes, it's so basic to add a ninth to a major chord in order to give it more warmth. But it works so well here because of the beforehand harmony and melody and the instrumentation with the strings.
Sleep becomes dream, becomes night.
It's really as kitschy as it can get. And whether you like that or not, I think one can appreciate when it's presented so skillfully.
Angels and demons.
Then there's the cadence to the 5th scale degree. And the PR shift again, like in the verse section. And I'd guess everybody expects the second PR shift. But no, Nik starts from the same A-flat major chord, turns it into its minor variant. This common type of plagal cadence resolves it towards E-flat minor, which then uses a motivic element from the end of the verse section
Go you to sleep.
and builds it around the chord structure from the beginning of the chorus.
Sleep becomes dream, becomes nightmare.
I don't know if Nik did all of this on purpose, but that's some really sophisticated motivic development. The tension is resolved through some reasonable walk down in the melody, while the chords do a series of real rising fifths.
I will be there when you wake.
And then another PR shift to start off the 3rd verse.
You wonder what hides in those.
From here on, the whole structure is repeated, but everything is transposed up a minor 3rd. You could say the entire second half is PR'd up, which gives Nik the opportunity to show off how smooth his voice can sound in the highest registers still in 2020.
Sleep becomes dream, becomes little star. Always remember.
Like, seriously, the man behind this voice is supposed to be 62? The only question that I have is why the song was hidden so deep in between a bunch of mediocre titles that I needed the hint of one of this channel's followers to dig that one out after 2 years. It's such a pity that this song probably will never get the reception it deserves. Before I forget, yes, at the end of the song, the beginning of the verse is played once more, this time in E major.
Safe above, soft beneath dew.
So a semitone higher than at the very beginning. It also ends on the 5th scale degree. There's no cadencing back into the tonic,
Light becomes dark.
which gives it a sense of openness that just perfectly aligns to the text of a new day beginning.
Calls.